Good day, everyone, and welcome back to the International Euphonium Summit. And we have today our guest for her second in Living History series, pardon me, Dr. Laura Fallon from the Rutgers area. And perhaps we have an update. I forgot to cover this on the podcast. Do we have any updates on the Long Island Brass Band?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. Still trying to work out the logistics of a space.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately not at the moment, but
let me talk to you about that afterward. I'm sorry to put you on the spot on that one. It flew into my mind just as quick as it flew out of my mouth. Pardon me on that. So where we are with you on welcome back to the series, and we're
thank you.
Reissuing your elementary experience into 6th grade and how impactful those summer programs were for the exploratory summer program.
Growing up, this program was offered through the school districts. So public school districts, they offer this program throughout the summer of lessons. The first year that we talked about last time was an introduction of group lessons, how to play the instruments. Later years involved band, because at that point 5th, 6th, 7th graders, you've covered enough of the basics to play band music. So doing ensembles with students throughout the district that are not just in say your own elementary school or just your middle school, but the other middle school in the districts, the other elementary schools in the district. So there's getting to meet your peers before high school and such, which is always nice. And it's a nice blend, different from the regular school year ensembles. And a wonderful part of those programs is that they would often get other teachers from other districts to also work with the students. So you would get another perspective that you might not encounter within the school year, which is always fantastic. And they offered bands for that, which I was a part of. They offered choir that I was a part of, as well as orchestra, and that individual and group lessons as well throughout that.
Okay, so you started that in your 6th grade year?
The first year I did the program was in 4th grade, and that was beginning introductions to playing euphonium, reading music as a brass player. And then the bands and choirs was 5th onward.
Okay, so were you a soprano?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes. And what did you play in orchestra?
Well, I didn't participate in the orchestra, but that was they offered for other students who
gotcha.
did. Yeah.
And was your brother a part of these summer exploratory programs as well?
Yes, just not at the same time as me.
Okay, so
yeah,
cool. Alrighty, so going forward, these summer exploratory programs, what a neat system. So let's go into the 6th grade year and how all that facilitated as you've progressed through your education through the summer programs, as well as during the actual academic years. How did lessons look like? How did family life interact during those years?
Well, in terms of school and all that, most of middle schools for New York is 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So lessons looks taking it through the school during the day. So they had in-day lessons where it's you go, leave one period class, have a group lesson, and then go back to class afterwards. So that's basically what I did in terms of private instruction throughout middle school, which was always nice. The low brass sections are usually smaller, so the euphonium lessons would be a mix of 6th and 7th graders or 7th and 8th graders, depending on enrollment and playing level of the students.
Where would you say your playing level was with these exploratory programs? Did your band directors consider your playing level at a sixth grade level at like your kind of your peers eighth grade levels, or
I'm trying to think. I mean, I feel like I was probably definitely more on the advanced for my level within the school itself for
Mhm.
like my grade level, but also like when it came to all county ensembles that I was a part of, I'd say I placed more in the middle.
Okay,
So it's like average, little above average.
that's cool.
So like I feel like my teachers were confident that like I would know the parts and I would practice, and that I would just stay on top of what needs to be done. But I feel like I like the best player? I mean, I don't
You're
know.
the best
Not not
at
in
your
terms of
point.
placement. It's I feel like in terms of placement, it's like I was probably a little bit above average. Like I practiced, I tried, I had fun.
That's cool. Did your
Yeah.
brother ever practice with you during those middle school years?
I think so. Maybe. I don't remember.
Besides the kind of the holiday times that you were describing during our first in series with you, how you'd play at your with your brother, some Christmas carols and stuff
Mhm.
like that during the holiday season at your family's house.
Um, I think like sometimes we would like do some stuff, or like if I needed help with like learning like some rhythms or like range stuff, like help practicing. I think like specifically, I don't remember specifics because it was like ages ago. But yeah, I mean a little bit.
That's really cool.
Mm.
So moving forward, at what point does that summer exploratory program kind of dissipate in your academics, or is that offered beyond eighth grade, or is that
Well, it's basically offered for throughout eighth grade. Occasionally, like it's offered for students who like maybe picking up uh or switching instruments later on if they want to catch up to be in band. But it's intended for like um the levels of 4 through 8, and then for high school, it's the students have marching band and band camp over the summer, so that kind of like takes the place of it, as well as like offering for like the high upper high school students, like 11th and 12th graders, the chance to like work a part-time job of like being a teaching assistant.
oh, that's pretty neat. So
Yeah.
as far as the sixth, seventh, eighth grade sequence that you had there in New York, I'm curious to see if you started playing into the community band system at all after hours.
Not at that level. Um, mainly because like there was still a number of like school ensembles that would have like rehearsals after school. Like
Okay.
one of the choirs would have rehearsals after school. I did jazz bands on Euphonium in middle school, and that would be
Oh, that's
after
so cool.
school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's cover that. How did you why did you choose to participate, or was that on a request from your band director?
I thought it was really cool, so I wanted to audition and be a part of it. That's kind of why I did it. And I really enjoyed it. The director was absolutely amazing. And like I feel like being a part of uh that jazz band, as well as doing like that in high school and doing some jazz work in undergrad, definitely helps shape like my approach to like classical euphonium solos that incorporate that style, so it's not as um straightforward, and it's actually trying to have a little bit of more feeling than just playing it straight.
That's really cool.
Hmm.
So during those years with jazz band, and do you remember what your band director's primary instrument was?
uh for the jazz group, um it was his primary instrument was saxophone. For the concert band's euphonium, which is, yeah,
That's
I love that.
cool.
Yes. So we had mentioned like last time, one of the teachers who was extremely influential to me being Don Sherman. He was my middle school band director.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So euphonium player, I lucked out, and fantastic teacher. Um,
That's really cool. So what
yeah.
kind of solos were you looking at during the middle school years, if you remember?
Well, I mean, I did. Well, New York State has like NISMA, so it's the
Right.
students prepare like a solo to perform in front of a judge. I think at that point, oh, I could look it up, but I know I did like a Baroque transcription. I think I did a movement from like the Galliard Sonata at one point, because like for the lower levels of NISMA, you don't have to do like the whole solo if it's like a long thing. You could do like a selection from, and like it lists what's considered appropriate for that. So I think I did do a selection of that, and I forget what else that I remember that stood out because it was a bit of a challenge at the time.
Yeah, you're talking about the Galliard, the six suites, I believe,
Yeah, yeah.
something like that. Wow, that takes me back in time. Uh, that's cool. So, what did All Region look like for you in context with the All City? Is that the same thing?
Um, well, we have like all county.
All County, yeah.
Um, so for me, that would have been Suffolk County, and they have it kind of divided by like three divisions of like a fifth, sixth grade, seventh, eighth, and ninth, tenth. Did I get that right? Fifth, sixth. I don't know, something like that. But that was always nice, and the repertoire there was always like a good challenge, as like a step up from what like I'd encounter in bands. Not a drastic step up because I was fortunate that the music program that I was a part of is like a very good music program, and how they prepared us to tackle like different band pieces. Like it'd be like an appropriate level, but and where not too hard, where everyone will be like frantic, but a nice balance of challenging for some of the advanced students, but not so challenging that some of the students who need like a little bit more work would fall behind. Um, but Skimia, like all the all county stuff, was always a nice challenge, and working with the directors there, and just playing with other uh folks from around Long Island.
That's cool.
And I guess in terms of like placements there, I was like kind of in the middle. So not first chair, second chair, but just like in the middle. And it was always like larger sections, which was nice too.
That's neat. So,
Hmm.
jazz band, did y'all have a all county jazz band as well?
Uh there was, but I never participated in that one. I just did the school ensemble, which part of the trombone section, just on euphonium.
That's cool. So, would you attribute that time of participating with your school's jazz band kind of complementary to your growth as a sight reader on euphonium?
Yeah, yeah. I'd say both the work in jazz band and like any work with choir that I've done has been extremely helpful with my approach to euphonium.
So, how many years did you do choir? Did you take choir all the way through high school as well
Yeah, and undergrad.
and undergrad? So, are you big in? So, I'm going to take this a little step beyond the scope of these first years.
Mhm.
When did you learn about the extended technique of like multiphonics and combining voice with euphonium?
Not until much later.
Much later, right?
Yeah, into like I think really into like it might have been brought up in some of my like lessons in high school, but we never really like covered it because it was a bit beyond like what I was up to doing. But like saying like, hey, here's an extended technique that you could develop in the future, to introduce the concept of it. Um, but I don't think I really like tried doing anything with that until like undergrad, and even then it was like not a whole lot, just like experimenting with it here and there. Um, like I really, when I did a lot of work with that was with my D.M.A and working on like some of Peter Graham's solos that call for it. So
Exquisite.
mm,
That's awesome.
mm,
So going into okay, 6th, 7th, 8th grade in middle school ish. Are the campuses in New York kind of segregated to where it goes from 8th and then the new campus is at 9th grade? Or
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
what was that? Let's take this into the summer of before your freshman year. What's it look like for a marching band? What's it look like for getting ready for that freshman school year?
Um, well, it was my first year at band camp, which is always daunting. Learning like marching for the first time, using like a marching baritone for the first time, and just getting used to that. Um, and it's a lot because we would have like several weeks of rehearsals before band camp, like at the high school, learning the music, memorizing the music, and then putting it all together. And like learning and starting to see like what the charts for the show might require in terms of like different maneuvers, like here's when you stop marching, different ways that we specifically turn and all that. So that was, I feel like it was a lot of fun, very rigorous for like a first time through. um but
So was
it was
this
a lot of hmm?
was that your first time like learning to memorize pieces of music as opposed to just scales?
Yeah, yeah.
What would you at so let's as we're wrapping up this second in living history series with Dr. Laura Fallon, thank you all for joining this, and you can find out more information at internationaleuphoniumsummit.com/Laura-Fallon. Links down below. Her channel will be right here. And as we're wrapping this up, what kind of tips would you put out there for those that are getting into their freshman year and experiencing marching band and going, oh my gosh, this is so much music to memorize? What will you say to that
I think,
student?
well, listen to a recording if your band director sent it out for sure. But just have fun with it. Like play with a metronome. But like listen. Think about what's going on in the band around you. What cues can you listen for? And if it's like your first time going to band camp, drink lots of water, have lots of little snacks ready, but lots of water. But just listen to your part, maybe sing along with your part to like kind of think of how this melody goes off the horn, and then just see how much can you play through from the beginning, see how it's right. Maybe record yourself, listen back. And I think just yeah, I think that would be a good start to it.
Cool beans.
Hmm.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Continue listening on the podcast. The links will be listed below to your favorite podcast listening, which I will end up putting this on a longer format for those podcasts at a sooner than later date, hopefully. Catch us on www.internationaleuphoniumsummit.com/Laura-Fallon and learn how you too can share your unique story on our Living History series. Until next time, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.